All right, so let's pick it up from yesterday, where we left, hearing group reports on themes, including the concepts and the comments, and then some examples of supporting evidence. This will situate you nicely for today's paragraph. We started with the monkey's paw. Fate will control the outcome, so human beings cannot control fate. We talked about the whites' experience and how they fail miserably at trying to control their own outcome, and fate punishes them for the attempt. Why am I blanking? Oh, medicine bag, right. So we're talking about identity, and the comment is that identity is determined by family, and our protagonist learns this because he's unhappy when he rejects his grandfather, and then he's happy when he accepts his grandfather. There seems to be some amount of understanding of himself after he understands grandpa. In the foghorn, oh, this was the interesting one. We're discussing loneliness and how the loneliness creates a sadness that is overwhelming and powerful. And we talked about how the size of the monster kind of magnifies the size of the sadness. You could even talk about the destruction of the lighthouse being an expression of that size and power. And of course, I made a pun, and we all laughed. Raymond's Run, talking about determination. Our comment was that determination is necessary to achieve a goal. Squeaky runs, she's determined. Who else in the story seemed to be determined? Gretchen, that's right. And how did we decide that Gretchen achieves success of some sort? Logan. They become friends. So even though she's not able to win the race, Gretchen definitely achieves something by becoming friends with Squeaky. In the circuit, we were talking about poverty and how the story shows us through evidence that the message is most likely something connected to childhood, that poverty would destroy childhood, and we have evidence for that with the protagonist being unable to do what? Remind me of my evidence here. Can't go to school. What else can't that child do? Play the trumpet. What else? Yeah, can't read very well. And then you can infer that that kid probably doesn't have any friends. So many ways in which the protagonist, the narrator, is hampered, unable to live a real childhood. That leaves us with what? Which groups have not yet presented? We haven't done Algernon yet, right? So let's work on Algernon. Flowers for Algernon. We need a concept. We need a comment. Where are my Algernon people? 1, 2, just the two of you? Okay, and Alex. Let's see. Michaela, give me a concept, please. Normality. I love it. Authors, filmmakers, songwriters often explore the themes connected to normality. Mason, what were you going for? What was the concept or a comment? Okay, I can deal with that. Somebody want to give me some evidence in or out of this group? Being normal is not always best. You don't have to be normal, quote unquote, to be a valuable person.
Like at first people did like pretending to be being smart and people didn't realize, and so when you went back to not being smart, people like respected him.
Oh, good. Okay, so we've got the idea that he is, Charlie, of course, is valued at the end for who he is. And Mason, do you think there could be an implied theme that just kind of like you should be who you are as opposed to trying to be something else? Good, good. And that definitely comes through in that evidence. I don't know if you remember this, but when we were talking about narrative perspective, I mentioned that one of the effects of narrative perspective is that it can give us a connection to a theme. What's the narrative perspective of Flowers for Algernon? Come on. What's the voice? What's the narrative perspective of Flowers for Algernon? Yes. Through whose eyes? Correct. Michaela, by placing the story first person through Charlie's eyes, what is the author asking me to do about Charlie? What is the author asking me to feel about Charlie? Yeah, sympathy, connection with who he really is. So in this one, you could also think about value. What is valuable? Well, Charlie is valuable. And he doesn't have to be intelligent to be valuable. You could also say that Miss Kinnean likes him regardless of his intelligence. She actually is kind of scared of him when he's super smart, but she likes him a lot when he is just regular old Charlie. Good evidence? Have we missed any? Which one? Open window. Not on our list today. Have we missed any besides the open window? No? Okay, then let's quickly do the open window. Where are my open window folks? Okay. Shane, give me your concept. Cruelty. Jimmy, what is Saki saying about cruelty through the open window? That's true, but isn't that kind of redundant? Isn't that the definition of cruelty? If I were to ask you what cruelty means, you'd say something not nice, right?
Yeah.
So give me something else.
It doesn't help you or anybody else.
Okay? But then it's kind of like you're saying cruelty is harmful, right? And that also seems a little bit redundant. So let's explore, let's say something new about cruelty. Let's look at the story. Where does cruelty come from in the story?
Like when the girl is drinking that their ghost.
So it comes from a girl, right?
Yeah.
A little girl. She's young. How about this? I read this story and I think Saki is playing with us because he's assuming that we will not see her as a threat. She's a little girl. How could she possibly be a threat to this man? But if we learn that cruelty comes from just about anywhere, it doesn't have to come from an adult, it doesn't have to be some sort of big stereotypical version of a male aggressive criminal or some supervillain. It could come from a little unassuming girl. And you have plenty of evidence in the open window discussing how cruelty does come from that unsuspected location. Did we miss any? Okay. You have notes on all of them. You've got some ideas. You'll receive your assignment in a moment. But what I'd like you to do is go to Moodle. Let's go to the analytical writing assignment because your new one, number 5, is in there. So I'll give you a moment, and I'd like you pulling up analytical writing assignment number 5. And our first stop will be the model example. I want to take some time with this model example to show you exactly what's going on with it. So you can basically replicate it. You can repeat it. Give everybody a moment to get there. By the way, some students throughout today, when I was talking about this paragraph, have felt it valuable to take some notes on what I'm saying. And if you wish to do so, please do. Kind of be multitasking on your Chromebook desktop there. All right. I'm not even looking at the assignment yet. I just want to look at the model example. I'm going to read the first 2 sentences. In Stop the Sun, Gary Paulson explores the idea of guilt. He uses the story to express that guilt can be an overpowering and devastating emotion. Jenna, what have I done in those first 2 sentences? Think in terms, though, don't talk to me about content. Think in terms of what we've talked about regarding theme for the last couple days. So in terms of discussing theme, what have I done in the first 2 sentences? What is it? Use our language. Use our terms. Okay, but theme is made of a couple parts, right? What are the two parts of theme? How have we just broken down theme into two parts? Comment and concept. What's my concept? What's my comment? As overpowering and devastating. In my first two sentences, I have given concept, it's guilt, and comment, overpowering and devastating. By sentence 2, you should know the full theme. What other information has arrived in sentence 1 that is necessary for me to proceed and properly write? Silence descends. Natalie, what else do I have in the first sentence that I will remove points from your grade if you do not include? Not a quotation. Jimmy.
When you put in stop or sun, library, then if you don't do that, you'll lose a point.
Because you must include the author in the title. That's correct. And I've always given you a good way to include the author in the title. In this title, this author. And then you want to follow this pattern in your paragraph today? Do it. Why? Because it's clear. I'm asking you to explore theme. Hey, guess what? In this story, this author is exploring this concept, and this is what he says about it. That's it. Easy enough. Now let's keep reading. Mr. Erickson, Terry's father, is suffering post-traumatic stress disorder from his battle experience in Vietnam. This disorder, called Vietnam syndrome at the time, causes Mr. Erickson to fall into staring silences and fits, showing the pain of the disease. Okay, Riley, what have those two sentences done? Okay, you're correct, but once again, let's step back for a moment. I'm a writer. What have those two sentences accomplished for me that I'm trying to do to please my teacher? What have I provided? What do all of these analytical paragraphs need? After I've got my idea down and my topic right at the top, then what do I go to? Description's not quite the right word. Can anybody see where I'm going with this? Nobody understands what you put in a paragraph like this. Nobody understands what the rubric is based on grading. But let's not talk about the story. Let's talk about writing. Let's talk about thinking. No, not explanation. Look at your rubrics, folks. What am I grading you on? What needs to be in the paragraph? Supporting details or evidence. Thank you. Talk about details. Talk about evidence. Talk about proof. Talk about examples. This is what I mean. So the word explanation is too general. Not quite sure what you mean by explanation unless you clarify it in some way. You say supporting evidence. Now I know exactly what you're talking about. I have two sentences here that presents supporting evidence from the story. Now let me ask you a second question. That supporting evidence. Does that supporting evidence, that detail, support the comment or the concept? Mr. Erickson, Terry's father, is suffering post-traumatic stress disorder from his battle experience in Vietnam. This disorder, called Vietnam syndrome at the time, causes Mr. Erickson to fall into staring silences and fits, showing the pain of the disease. Noah, how do you know that? Where is a word here that kind of matches a word here? It's not the same word, but which words seem to be associated together? Pain and? Pain here matches what up here? No. Logan, help him out. That's right. So no, you've got the right idea, but here's my link. Devastating and pain. Look, this is an example of the comment, and Noah, you were correct when you said that. So I've got an example that shows the comment. Let's keep going. Later, Terry learns that his father developed this disorder because he was the only survivor of a scouting mission during the war. The guilt he feels from leaving the field alive while all his friends died leads him to say, inside where I am, I died. Same question. Andrew. You answer this time. I've got a second example, second piece of evidence from the story. What is it supporting? Comment or concept? Correct. Where's your match? It's even simpler than the previous one. What's my concept? Yeah, you do. It's up there at the top. What's the concept? What's the thematic concept? Somebody help me out. Jacob. Guilt. Look, guilt. Guilt. There's your match. I've got an example for the comment. I've got an example for the concept. I'm fully supported. 2 details, it's good to go. Shane, what's my last sentence going to do? Basically, to conclude. The suffering of Mr. Erickson due to his guilt helps Paulson express the powerful harm of guilt. If you look at my paragraph, it's just like a little machine. It's not creative writing. It's not actually all that interesting in terms of its structure. I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm saying, here's my idea, here's supporting evidence for this part of the idea, here's supporting evidence for this part of the idea. Hey, remember what my idea is? We're done. And that's it. And that's all I need you to do. So if you follow the same sort of structure, you'll write a paragraph that'll be clear and earn some decent points. Let's go to the prompt. Okay, number 5, theme. Discuss the theme of the story you've been assigned. Explain what the theme is with reference to both thematic concept and comment. Then prove this theme through no fewer than 2 supporting details from the story. Exactly what I did in that paragraph. And everybody has the same prompt, you just will all have different stories. So I will randomly assign the stories to you. And they'll come from that list, which means you are not dealing with Stop the Sun, and you are not dealing with, I think I took the open window off that list as well. So you may or may not actually receive a story assignment from your group. Before I assign stories, does anybody have questions about the assignment? No? Okay, should be clear at this point. Remember, due Monday by 3 p.m., please. So listen for your assignments. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. No. A, B, C, D, E, F. A, B, C, D, E, F, A, B. So take your assignment. Don't forget, you're writing in class so you can ask me questions as you have them. You're writing in class so you can help each other. Do not copy each other, but feel free to work together. As you have questions, just ask.